Episode 158. Sirius is trapped. I've seen him. Voldemort's got him, and no one else knows, and that means we're the only ones who can save him. And if you don't want to do it, fine, but I'm going, understand? And if I remember rightly, you didn't have a problem with my saving people thing when it was you I was saving from the Dementors. Or, he rounded on Ron, when it was your sister I was saving from the basilisk. I never said I had a problem, said Ron heatedly.
But Harry, you've just said it, said Hermione fiercely. Dumbledore wanted you to learn to shut these things out of your mind. If you'd done occlumency properly, you'd never have seen this.
If you think I'm going to act like I haven't seen,
Sirius told you there was nothing more important than you learning to close your mind.
Well, I'd expect he'd say something different if he knew what I'd just seen. The classroom door opened. Harry, Ron, and Hermione whipped around. Ginny walked in, looking curious, followed by Luna, who, as usual, looked as though she had drifted in accidentally. "Hi," said Ginny uncertainly. We recognized Harry's voice. "What are you yelling about?" "Never you mind," said Harry roughly. Ginny raised her eyebrows. "There's no need to take that tone with me," she said coolly. "I was only wondering whether I could help." "Well, you can't," said Harry shortly.
"You're being rather rude, you know," said Luna serenely.
Harry swore and turned away. The very last thing he wanted now was a conversation with Luna Lovegood.
"Wait," said Hermione suddenly. "Wait, Harry, they can help."
Harry and Ron looked at her.
"Listen," she said urgently. "Harry, we need to establish whether Sirius really has left headquarters."
"I've told you, I saw him."
"Harry, I'm begging you, please," said Hermione desperately. "Please, let's just check that Sirius isn't at home before we go charging off to London. If we find out he's not there, I swear I won't try and stop you. I'll come. I'll do whatever it takes to try and save him."
"Sirius is being tortured now," shouted Harry. "We haven't got time to waste."
"But if this is a trick of Voldemort's, Harry, we've got to check. We've got to."
"How?" Harry demanded. "How are we going to check?"
"We'll have to use Umbridge's fire and see if we can contact him," said Hermione, who looked positively terrified at the thought. "We'll draw Umbridge away again, but we'll need lookouts, and that's where we use Ginny and Luna."
Though clearly struggling to understand what was going on, Ginny said immediately, "Yeah, we'll do it." And Luna said, "When you say serious, are you talking about Stubby Boardman?" Nobody answered her. "Okay," said Harry aggressively to Hermione. "Okay, if you can think of a way of doing this quickly, I'm with you. Otherwise, I'm going to the Department of Mysteries right now." "The Department of Mysteries?" said Luna, looking mildly surprised. "But how are you going to get there?" Again, Harry ignored her.
"Right," said Hermione,
twisting her hands together and pacing up and down between the desks.
"Right. Well, one of us has to go and find Umbridge and send her off in the wrong direction. Keep her away from the office. They could tell her, I don't know, that Peeves is up to something awful as usual."
"I'll do it," said Ron at once. "I'll tell her Peeves is smashing up the Transfiguration department or something. It's miles away from her office. Come to think of it, I could probably persuade Peeves to do it if I met him on the way." It was a mark of the seriousness of the situation that Hermione made no objection to the smashing up of the Transfiguration department.
"Okay,"
she said, her brow furrowed as she continued to pace.
"Now, we need to keep students away from her office while we force entry, or some Slytherin's bound to go and tip her off."
"Luna and I can stand at either end of the corridor," said Ginny promptly, "and warn people not to go down there because someone's let off a load of garroting gas." Hermione looked surprised at the readiness with which Ginny had come up with this lie. Ginny shrugged and said Fred and George were planning to do it before they left.
Okay, said Hermione. Well then, Harry, you and I will be under the invisibility cloak, and we'll sneak into the office, and you can talk to Sirius.
He's not there, Hermione.
I mean, you can check whether Sirius is at home or not while I keep watch. I don't think you should go in there alone. Lee's already proved the window's a weak spot, sending those nifflers through it.
Even through his anger and impatience, Harry recognized Hermione's offer to accompany him into Umbridge's office as a sign of solidarity and loyalty. Okay, thanks, he muttered.
Right. Well, even if we do all of that, I don't think we're going to be able to bank on more than 5 minutes, said Hermione, looking relieved that Harry seemed to have accepted the plan. Not with Filch and the wretched inquisitorial squad floating around.
5 minutes will be enough, said Harry. Come on, let's go.
Now?
Said Hermione, looking shocked. Of course now, said Harry angrily. What do you think, we're going to wait until after dinner or something? Hermione, Sirius is being tortured right now.
Oh, all right, she said desperately. You go and get the invisibility cloak, and we'll meet you at the end of Umbridge's corridor, okay?
Harry did not answer, but flung himself out of the room and began to fight his way through the milling crowds outside. 2 floors up, he met Seamus and Dean, who hailed him jovially and told him they were planning a dusk-till-dawn end-of-exam celebration in the common room. Harry barely heard them. He scrambled through the portrait hole while they were still arguing about how many black market butterbeers they would need, and was climbing back out of it, the invisibility cloak and Sirius's knife secure in his bag, before they noticed he had left them. Harry, do you want to chip in a couple of galleons? Harold Dingle reckons he could sell us some fire whiskey. But Harry was already tearing away back along the corridor, and a couple of minutes later was jumping the last few stairs to join Ron, Hermione, Ginny, and Luna, who were huddled together at the end of Umbridge's corridor. Got it, he panted. Ready to go then?
All right,
whispered Hermione, as a gang of loud 6th years passed them.
So, Ron, you go and head Umbridge off. Ginny, Luna, if you can start moving people out of the corridor, Harry and I will get the cloak on and wait until the coast is clear.
Ron strode away, his bright red hair visible right to the end of the passage. Meanwhile, Ginny's equally vivid head bobbed between the jostling students surrounding them in the other direction, trailed by Luna's blonde one.
Get over here, muttered Hermione,
tugging at Harry's wrist and pulling him back into a recess, where the ugly stone head of a medieval wizard stood muttering to itself on a column.
Are you sure you're okay, Harry? You're still very pale.
I'm fine, said Harry shortly, tugging the invisibility cloak from out of his bag. In truth, his scar was aching, but not so badly that he thought Voldemort had yet dealt Sirius a fatal blow. It had hurt much worse than this when Voldemort had been punishing Avery. Here, he said. He threw the invisibility cloak over both of them, and they stood listening carefully over the Latin mumblings of the bust in front of them. You can't come down here, Ginny was calling to the crowd. No, sorry, you're going to have to go round by the swiveling staircase. Someone's let off garroting gas just along here. They could hear people complaining. One surly voice said,
I can't say no gas.
That's because it's colorless, said Ginny in a convincingly exasperated voice. But if you want to walk through it, carry on. Then we'll have your body as proof for the next idiot who didn't believe us. Slowly, the crowd thinned. The news about the garroting gas seemed to have spread. People were not coming this way anymore. When at last the surrounding area was quite clear, Hermione said quietly,
I think that's as good as we're going to get, Harry. Come on, let's do it.
Together they moved forward, covered by the cloak.